everyone, and welcome back to Art a la Carte. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to draw a griffin.
Pencil and some paper, and the best part is having lots of fun with Art a la Carte.
A griffin is a mythical creature that is a mixture of an eagle and a lion. After looking at some reference photos, there are a ton of different ways that people draw griffins. So don't be afraid to just take some of these ideas and change them up a little bit. So let's first put in the griffin base. So I'm going to start off here with a circle for my griffin's head. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a neck, coming down to a circle here for its chest. And then coming out here for kind of the rump. So it's going to have a kind of a profile view here. So the front half of the griffin is more eagle-like, where the back half is a little bit more lion-like. So I'm going to make the head kind of swoop down and connect into the body right here. So it's going to be a little bit thinner at the top of the neck as it comes down into the chest. It's going to widen out just a little bit. Now as it comes across the backbone, this all here is going to be feathers and it's coming into more of a fur. And then it's going to come and we're going to put in the lion legs here. So I'm going to kind of sketch out my bone structure here. So there's the hips coming to the knee, coming to the back of the leg, and then coming down to the bottom of the leg. And I want this shape to kind of be triangular. So as it goes off this way, it gets a little bit bigger. But I want some nice muscular lion legs in here. So if you need to, grab a reference book and look at different lion legs to kind of get a good idea of the anatomy and what's going on there. And then coming down with the tail, which I'm going to kind of swirl up just like that. I'm just going to put a little indication down here as to where the back paw is, but I'm not going to worry about any major detail right now. I'm going to bring the other leg back just a little bit. And then bring the underside of the belly out. And again, as it's coming down towards the chest, I'm going to increase the volume here. So if this was a lion, it would be much smaller here. But because I'm making this a griffin, I'm kind of going now with the bird anatomy, because these are going to be his, kind of front legs, or the legs of the bird. So here I'm going to come back with the leg and then forward, and then go into the nice big talons here. And again, remember, don't go worrying about the detail yet. This is someplace where you can really play. You can keep the griffin's legs very much bird-like and kind of thin them out a little bit, or you can make them a lot thicker. And I'm thinking I'm going to make mine a little bit thicker. And then come into the claws here. And I'm going to bring this leg up. So I'm going to come up here. And again, I'm just sketching really lightly. That way I can kind of play with the line, figure out what I'm doing with it, all that good stuff. And it's easier to erase if you just go lightly with your pencil or your coloring pencil like this. You can erase it much easier. Alright, so we have the body. Let's look at the head a little bit more. So the head can go into like this really cool eagle shape here. So I'm going to kind of bring this up and flatten the top of the head out just a little bit so it's not as rounded. And again, this is a great place to look at photos of eagles. So I'm going to bring the beak down so that it has a nice little rounded top coming down to that point and then arching back a little bit. So there's the beak. So now let's work on these wings. So the wings would come out from this area here. So I'm going to bring these wings up. And I have a whole couple videos on drawing different types of wings. So if you want a little bit more information on that, you can definitely check those videos out. And I'm going to make them so big, I think I'm going to go right off the paper. I'll scoot this back just a little bit so you can see where I'm going with this. I'm using my really large sketchbook for this drawing. And I think it's good to have different size sketchbooks because it's going to force you to draw in different sizes. If you get just comfortable drawing small things, then it's really hard for you to move in and draw these larger things, where it's also good to learn how to draw small too. So I change my sketchbooks up. I do a small sketchbook and then I'll move to a large sketchbook. And I won't stay in the same sketchbook sometimes until it's finished. I'm going to jump around a little bit. So I'm, again, not worrying too much about the details of the feathers. And you could totally change this up. You don't have to have it an eagle wing. You could make it any kind of wing you want. I'm going to put his eye right here, which I'm going to start off with this circle here for the eye. Right there. And then I'm going to just put just a little bit of the eye ridge right over there. So it's just very rounded. Little ridge right there. Now I want all of this to be feathers, so I'm going to put just a little bit of a feather indication here. And then we need to find where the feathers end, so I'm going to just have the wing kind of come down. Right into the legs here, and the fur kind of taking in from there. So we'll thicken out his tail a little bit more at the base, and then as it wraps around towards the tip of his tail, it's going to thin out. And we'll put a little tuft of fur at the end of the tail there. So here I have my basic sketch, and now you can kind of go back and add any kind of details you want. I need to put some ears on this. Some of the Griffin pictures I saw did not have ears, but the more traditional ones do have a little bit of a feathery winged ear. So I'm just going to put some little winged ears right there. But once you have this all done up the way you want, then you can go back and start adding in the detail or inking it in however you like. I'm going to go in with my Sakura Micron 03 and ink this in. There we go. I have my Griffin all inked in. It's looking pretty cool. Now I can go back or even add in some more details, but you kind of see how the process works. Now, what I want to challenge you guys to do is, once you're comfortable drawing a Griffin, really begin to push yourself to think of different variations of this bird/lion category. And mostly it's always depicted with an eagle, but there's a ton of different birds out there. So think of some different types of birds and match them in with lions. Once you finish them, make sure to post them to my Facebook page or Instagram so that I can see them. I would love to do that. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye!